Our top focus. 2 days ago, 22 people died as a tourist boat capsized in Kerala. Among them were 15 children. The youngest victim was only 8 months old. The boat was overloaded. The passengers were not wearing life jackets. Everyone was shocked. The boat owner was arrested. An ex gratia was announced. And life moved on. But what's the guarantee that such avoidable tragedies won't occur again in Kerala or in any other part of India, with you or with anyone else? The Kerala High Court, ladies and gentlemen, today stood up for the citizens of India. It took suo motu cognizance of the tragedy. In other words, it took up the matter on its own. It has initiated a public interest litigation to probe the tragedy, and it ripped into authorities as well. It asked tough questions. The bottom line, the court says, is this: it cannot be business as usual. Let me read out to you what the court has said, and let's put those quotes on our screens as well. The court says, citizens seem justifiably indurated to the news of loss of lives caused solely by the deadly cocktail of callousness, indifference, greed, and official apathy. How many more will we have to see? Asks the court. Many more, unless we now put our foot firmly down, because the visible causal factors, overloading, blatant violation of statutory imperatives, and criminal absence of essential safety requirements, even life jackets, are repeated with impunity. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the next lines very carefully. This is what the court is saying. The court is saying every tragedy triggers routine investigations, followed by recommendations, but never to be heeded thereafter. Happens all the time, doesn't it? The court questioned how nobody knew of the repeated violations despite the houseboats openly flouting all safety guidelines. What about the police, local authorities, the court asked. It said the fear of law must enter everyone's hearts. How do we keep saying it is shocking? It is shocking. It is shocking for every such incident. We are running out of words now. The High Court pointed out that every tragedy triggers routine investigations followed by recommendations, but never to be heeded thereafter. Let's put the graphics back on our screens to tell you what exactly the court has said. The court is calling this a haunting tragedy, one that it cannot allow to be forgotten. But here's the point, and this is the reality, that we as citizens do forget. Are we, as the court says, hardened by such repeated tragedies that we move on within a day? For example, today no one wants to talk about the Kerala boat tragedy. Everyone wants to talk about the Kerala story instead, which is a film. Were this to happen in any other country, would lessons not be learnt? A bench of Justices Devan Ramachandran and Shobha Epen said, and I quote, their hearts were bleeding and they underwent sleepless nights after seeing the bodies of children, 15 of them. The High Court has asked the District Collector to file a report by May 12th. This brings us to the question, is life cheap in India? When a bridge collapses in Morbi, again because of a deadly cocktail of callousness, greed, and apathy, killing 135 people, it takes us only a few days to forget. The elections were barely weeks away in Gujarat, and this wasn't even an election issue. Not in Morbi, forget Gujarat. Have we, the citizens, become immune to people dying because of official apathy? That beyond a point we simply don't care if it doesn't happen to us? We don't ask the right questions. We don't seek accountability from public officials. Is it that we are hardened by repeated tragedies, as the court says? And if we are, this is not how it should be. Something like Morbi, something like what happened in Malappuram in Kerala should make us very, very angry. We need to demand answers from the system that runs on the taxpayers' money. Think about it. Because today's action is coming from the Kerala High Court, but action must also come from you and from me. I'm going across to someone who's a citizen of Kerala, who's a citizen of India, but someone who comes from Kerala. Dilip Cherian, you're a founder of Perfect Relations. You have close ties with the state of Kerala, but I'm not just talking about Kerala here. The Kerala High Court today has told us, has actually showed us the mirror, telling us that as citizens, our hearts have been hardened because of the repeated tragedies that we see in this country because of civic apathy, that beyond a point, we simply don't care. We walk away from it probably as a defense mechanism.
And this tragedy in Kerala, as well as the court's response to it, needs to be looked at as a warning signal for all of civic society. We quickly turn our eyes away to the next event. We quickly turn our eyes away from a tragedy. The only answer is one absolutely visible punishment to the officials whose job it is to ensure that the basic norms are met. Human greed cannot be programmed out, but systems can be programmed in to ensure that despite greed, whistles are blown and laws are abided with. I think citizens need, the reason why citizens are apathetic is because they feel that they have no control over the system. They see that they can fume and fury for a day, weep and whine for 2 days, but after that, the system goes back to normal. But the system is us. And I think, Shreya, that's the point that you're making. We need to have stories about overcrowded buses, overloaded boats, speeding cars. We need to have stories on that. It is only by constant vigil and constantly blowing this whistle to make sure that officials wake up, bribes and corruption don't win the day, and you need to make sure that the entire system recognizes that citizens are unwilling to just join as mourners after a tragedy, and that they want to take ownership of their lives and that they deserve it. Today we have lots of forms of communications. We have varieties of people who are taking pictures. We have lots of methods by which you can draw attention to this. Let's do that, and let's make sure that the people who are accountable are named, punished, not just shamed. And we need to make sure that when they don't do their work, we blow the whistle and make sure that they wake up and do what's needed.
We need to demand accountability. Unfortunately, there's something in our ecosystem that doesn't let us demand that accountability. And even when you demand that accountability, look at what happened in Morbi. You named, you shamed, and yet the guys got away. I mean, there was such great hesitance and resistance in arresting the municipal commissioner or the Oreva chief. We've seen it play out out in front of our eyes, and we think, "Kuch nahi hone wala system ka chhod do, kya bolna." Unfortunately, that's the point we have come to, and that's not the point we should be at. We leave it there, Dilip. Thank you very much for joining us as a concerned citizen of this country. Good to have you on the show.